President Trump's best argument for re-election is the American economy, saying that it is successful. We certainly know that not everyone is reaping the benefits of it, but by most measures, the economy is doing well and doing really well. He inherited a growing economy from President Obama and has taken it since. And he is saying that that's what you want. You've had 2.5 years now of prosperity. Re-elect me. You'll get 4 more. And we also know, of course, that he puts a lot of value in the stock market, that when he sees the stock market doing well, he believes that is a great indicator of the kind of his leadership and why he should get another term. What challenges that, though, is these escalating trade war with China. We saw yesterday the stock market really fell as the tit-for-tat retaliatory tariffs increased. On Friday, the United States put on hundreds of billions of dollars tariffs on Chinese goods. On Monday, China responded in kind, not quite as much, but still a significant amount. And what we're seeing here is the president has time and time again suggested that, first of all, that trade wars, as he put it, are good and easy to win. He also has deemed himself Tariff Man. He feels that tariffs are a key way, punitive tariffs, to punish another economy, another country's economy, and to grow the United States' own economy. He does not always seem to understand, at least publicly, how they work, and seems to, if not understand, at least doesn't want to discuss the impact it will have on the American consumers, how your average American will go to a store and now have to pay more for goods because of these tariffs, because the ones that China has put on American goods. And obviously a lot of things Americans buy are made overseas. Now the president argues that, like tariffs, well, in best case scenario, things be manufactured at home, so therefore you wouldn't have to worry about it. And sure, there's an argument to be made that some tariffs could lead to productivity at home, but there are certain things that just America doesn't make anymore, and other countries do, and do a lot cheaper. So this is going to be passed on to the consumers, and politically, that's dangerous for the president, because a lot of these people who could be adversely affected, whether because they're just buying goods at the store, or let's say China hits back in certain industries and commodities like soybeans in the Midwest, those are the very voters, those heartland voters who supported Donald Trump in 2016, and he needs again in 2020. Donald Trump, long before he became a politician or president, had a few core convictions. He's famous for having a very flexible ideology where he changes his mind on things left and right. But he does believe on certain things about trade and certain things about tariffs, dating back from the 1980s when he was a New York businessman. He believed that tariffs are important and helpful to grow an American economy. Understanding there might be some short-term pain, but he thinks that the good will outweigh the bad. People around him have suggested that tariffs don't work. Gary Cohen, who was in his administration at the beginning of his term, his national economic director, flat out told the president to recount that tariffs don't work. You're only hurting Americans by doing this. One of the president's advisors told me just today that the president, if he doesn't understand how tariffs work, he's not letting on. That he believes that this is how it works. He has great faith in them. As it was put to me, it's almost like a theology. That he thinks that this is something that, again, even if there's a short-term negative impact for Americans, it will be good for the economy going forward. He also views, and this applies to all aspects of foreign policy, but particularly in economic foreign policy and trade, that the world is a zero-sum game. Like if they're winning, we're losing. He doesn't really understand that countries can sort of grow together, the market can grow together, or at least he doesn't voice that opinion. The president has, as these China talks escalated and then sort of broke down in recent days, it has become it has become very, very much on his mind. He has tweeted dozens of times in the last 4 or 5 days about the talks with China, mostly still hitting reassuring notes, saying that he thinks that a deal will work out in the end, praising his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping, who, according to our reporting, he does have great respect for. He understands that he's going to try to make the best deal for China, while Trump, of course, is trying to make the best deal for the United States. He still does believe an agreement will get made in the future, but he's treading on some dangerous ground here. As we said, the economy is his best argument for getting reelected. If the economy really slows down, if this trade war drags on, there is the real risk for him that the number one argument for that second term will go away. There'll be some voters out there who may not care for his Twitter feed or some of his other decisions, but are willing to give him a pass because the economy is good and their bank accounts are growing, that may change. If the economy slows down, he could be in trouble. A sluggish economy is probably the biggest risk to any president, but particularly for this one, who has bet so big on it. That if this trade war drags on, if the American economy stalls, he could be in real trouble, and they could be looking for an off-ramp to this escalation.